Deny, 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 your ass gonna fry. Cause what? Hey y'all, welcome and/or welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, if you didn't know, and today's video is another true crime episode. So if you're ready, let's go. Alright y'all, so I lied a little bit in the last video when I said that the next set that y'all saw from me was going to be from me and that I was going to create it and do it myself. No, more press-ons, not from BT Art Box, but definitely press-ons. Yeah, press-ons have me in a chokehold right now, but I promise I really will get back to doing my own nails because I think I got a couple ideas that I want to do. But yeah, I don't really got too much to say before the start of this video, so let's just go ahead and hop right in. And if you've been with me for a little minute now, then you already know that we are going from the rifts to the rafts of America in alphabetical order. And today we are in Texas. So it's May 4th, 1986, and we are in Hawkins, Texas, where three friends, 20-year-old Gina Turner, 19-year-old Brian Boone, and 18-year-old Suzanne Harrison all go to Lake Hawkins together to kick it and chill and have a good time. And while they at Lake Hawkins doing their thing and enjoying themselves, they run into a man named Gerald Walter McFadden, who goes by the nickname of Jerry. And Jerry is a man that we really don't know too much about. All we know is that Jerry was born on March 21st, 1948 in Haskell County, Texas. So yeah, anyways, these three friends, Gina, Brian, and Suzanne, they run into Jerry while they at Lake Hawkins. And long story short, Jerry ends up kidnapping them. And he was able to get them to do what he wanted them to do because he had a gun. And so once he kidnapped them, he took them all to a remote area where he would end up shooting and killing Brian and Gina. And once he did that, he took Suzanne to a separate location. He ended up driving her roughly 25 miles away from the lake to a park where he assaulted her sexually and strangled her to death. He then left her body there where she was found the next day, which would have been May 5th of 1986. Now, obviously, once her body is discovered, the police are called right away and the investigation starts immediately. Now, what police didn't realize yet was that they was already on Suzanne's murderer's trail, because the same day that he had kidnapped and murdered Gina, Suzanne, and Brian, he had also attacked a couple by the lake. And his intention with this couple was more than likely to do the same thing that he did to Brian, Gina, and Suzanne, but with just these two instead. But for whatever reason or however they did it, they was able to get away. So after the attack, this couple called the police and they told them about the man who attacked them, and they ended up giving the police a description of their attacker. So they was already on the lookout for Jerry because of the attack that he had did on this couple, but they didn't know that he was the one who killed Suzanne too. So anyways, it's March 6th now, and police find Jerry and they arrest him for the attack on the couple. I mean, Jerry does have a very distinct look at this time in his life, and the couple was able to pick him out of a lineup, and so they knew Jerry was the one who attacked the couple. And upon his arrest, police found that he had ammunition on him to a gun, right? And so obviously they take the ammo and send his ass off to jail. So while Jerry is in jail for the attack on this couple, the police are still investigating Suzanne's murder, and they looking for her two friends, because remember, at this point only Suzanne has been found. They haven't found Brian and Gina yet. And so in the early stages of this investigation into Suzanne's murder and the disappearance of Brian and Gina, the police get to talking to people who was at the lake that day. And there was a couple of people there who remember seeing a man with the three friends. And if I'm not mistaken, at least one witness said that they saw a man in the car with the three friends or driving a car with the three friends in it. Either way, they saw a man with the three friends in a car, and all of these people gave the description of Jerry. So when they hear the description of the man that was seen with the friends, police is like, that sounds like the dude we just arrested for the attack on this couple. However, they couldn't really prove that it was Jerry just yet. But then on May 9th of 1986, 3 days after he was arrested, the bodies of Gina and Brian were found. And it was found that they had both been shot at least once. So their bodies get sent in for autopsy. And when they do, a bullet is removed from at least one of the victims' bodies. Because Jerry matches the description of the man that was seen with the teens, police send in the bullet from the body and the ammunition that they collected from Jerry when he was arrested off for ballistics testing, and it was found that indeed the bullets from the body and the ammunition that was taken off of him, they was the same. So now they knew that Jerry was the one who committed all of these crimes. And so now obviously they charged Jerry with the 3 murders as well. So now while he's in jail awaiting his trial for everything, Jerry decides that he do not want to be locked up. He don't want to be in jail no more. And so over the course of the next 2 months, Jerry devises a plan. And I don't know what it is about last case and this case, but it seems as though everybody just don't want to be in jail. And I'm just trying to figure out, if you don't want to be in jail, why y'all keep doing stuff that will get you put in jail? But anyway, Jerry devised a plan to escape. And on July 9th, 1986, he did just that. Now, it wasn't as simple as hopping over the fence like old boy in last video. This one was a little more intricate. It had a couple more steps to it. So basically, at one point in the evening, when a deputy named Kenneth Mayfield went to go take Jerry out of his cell for whatever he was going to go take him out of his cell for, Jerry was somehow able to overpower Kenneth and get control of him. And he was able to lead Kenneth to the control tower of the jail where, you know, like where the jail staffers be buzzing the buzzer to open the doors, open cells, and do all that stuff. Yeah, he got Kenneth to get one of the tower workers named Rosalie to open the door. And when she opened the door, he began to beat Deputy Mayfield severely, damn near to the brink of death. And then he put Rosalie's partner into the jail cell where he was supposed to be, and then kidnapped Rosalie and made her open all the doors to get them out. And like I said, this was happening later on in the evening when the majority of the staff was already gone. So it wasn't that hard to get out, especially with somebody who had clearance and he didn't have to like try to pry, shake, or shimmy anything open. It was just already readily opened by Rosalie. And once they got outside, he made her lead him to her car where he forced her into the passenger seat and he hopped into the driver's seat. And after a couple of mishaps with the car not starting, it finally started and he drove off. And when he drove off, he was driving crazy, erratic, just not giving a damn. And Rosalie just over here talking to him like she's panicking. She's scared as hell, but she's trying to keep a cool head like, listen here, buddy. And she said she called him by his first name to kind of have more of a, it was just a tactic on her part. I don't know what she wanted him to think. Anyway, so she's talking to him like, Jerry, look, you ain't got to do this. Slow down. Like, chill out. You gonna make us crash. This is not going to end well. And at some point, they had heard helicopters above. And it wasn't immediately known if those were search helicopters or if that was just a helicopter that just happened to be flying over at that time. But nonetheless, he hears helicopters and he's panicking. So he just all over the road. But I'm more inclined to believe that it was not a search helicopter looking for him simply because of what happens next. Right? Okay. So he ended up crashing the car and him and Rosalie hop out and he dragged her into the woods somewhere, just trying to get away from this helicopter. Right? And whether that helicopter was looking for him or not, once the other staff got there and seen the mess that Jerry had left behind with the deputy and the other lady being in the cell and Jerry being missing, Rosalie being missing, an all-out manhunt was underway. So anyway, now while they looking for Jerry and Rosalie, Jerry got Rosalie held up in the woods somewhere, and he was basically able to hold Rosalie captive for 3 days in the woods. They ended up being in some abandoned boxcar type of situation. Now, be mindful that this was not like a deeply, heavily wooded area. This is just a little piece of woods, if that makes sense. It's not like the forest or nothing. So now, on the 3rd day, Rosalie is somehow able to escape. And she ran as fast as her little feet would take her. And she ran to the first house that she saw. And she ran to the first house that she saw where the people inside had actually seen her on the news. And they was like, it's okay, girl. We gonna help you. We got you. And so they called the police for her. And she is found safe, a little scarred and scared, but you know, she's fine. And shortly after Rosalie escapes, Jerry is captured and sent straight back to jail. And now he's not only charged with the attack on the couple, the 3 murders, but he is also now charged with escape and kidnapping. And for said escape and kidnapping, he ends up receiving a life sentence. And then he still had to be sentenced for the murders. And so once he was sentenced for the murders, he ended up getting the death penalty. And this all happened 1 year after his escape in July of 1987. And he did end up trying to appeal this death sentence, but deny, your ass gonna fry. Cause what? And on October 14th, 1999, Jerry Walter McFadden was executed by lethal injection. However, we're not done talking about Jerry McFadden at this point. The video is not over because 20 years after Jerry's execution, he was identified through DNA from Jeb Match as the killer in a 30-year-old cold case. Right. So now we got to take it back. We got to take it way back. So it's July 24th, 1979 in Oregon. And a 20-year-old girl named Anna Marie Vlaka, her sister would end up finding her deceased in their apartment. And investigators ran through suspect after suspect in Anna's murder. From her boyfriend, to the creepy man down the street, to the madman at McDonald's. Okay? They looked at everybody in Anna's life. And unfortunately, they just kept running into one dead end after another until eventually the case went cold. And it stayed that way until a cold case unit reopened the case. And luckily for this cold case unit, the initial investigators, without any knowledge of DNA technology or knowing what they would have in the future, took samples from underneath Anna's fingernails. And they kept them in the storage lockers from 1979 until. And so they tested the DNA from underneath Anna's fingernails, and then they used Jeb Match, and that's how they was able to narrow the DNA down to Jerry's family. And then once they did that, they went to Jerry's kids and obtained a DNA sample from his kids to match it to the DNA that was found under Anna's nails. And yeah, it was a match. It was a match. And so 30 years after Anna Vlaka's murder, her killer was finally caught. But he had been executed 20 years prior to them finding out who it was. So unfortunately for Anna's family, her killer would never be tried or convicted for her murder. But they did finally know who, but they did finally know who was responsible. And while they was happy that they finally knew who did it, immediate frustration and anger followed, simply because Jerry should have never been out of jail to begin with. He should have never been able to commit Anna's murder, because in 1973, Jerry was convicted of 2 counts of rape and he was sentenced to 15 years for this. But he ended up being paroled in 1978, just 1 year prior to Anna's murder. Nope, not even 1 year. He was paroled in December of 1978. And Anna was murdered in July of 1979. So what's that? December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. 7 months? That's 7 months. So only 7 months prior to her murder. And then later on in 1979, after he killed Anna and didn't get caught, he kidnapped an 18-year-old girl at knife point and raped her. And yes, he was arrested for this, convicted, and sent to prison. However, despite us not knowing how long he was sentenced for, we do know that he did not serve his full sentence for this either, because he was paroled in 1985. After which he went on to murder Gina, Suzanne, and Brian. Come on, justice system. Why is we letting these people out early, bro? I don't care about overcrowding. How about we let out some people with non-violent crimes? Huh? This man should have never had the opportunity to kill one person, let alone 4, and possibly more. Possibly more, if we being honest. I don't know, y'all. When I read that last little piece, when I was researching and I found out that this man was sentenced to 15 years and then he was paroled and then he was sentenced again for a similar crime. This man is clearly violent. His nickname was the Animal, given to him by himself. What are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know. Anyway, y'all, that is all I have for today's case. Thank you all so very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Whoa. We gotta do something about that. What do I do about that? I need some cucumbers. Do cucumbers, I don't know. I need something. I need some under eye patches. What's some good under eye patches? Diamonds are nothing when I'm rocking with you. Diamonds are nothing when I'm shining with you. Just keep it white and black and survive me, sister. I'm too hip to hop around town out here with you. I know I get. Hey y'all, welcome and/or welcome back to my channel. My name is Janae, if you didn't know, and today's video is another true crime episode. So if you're ready, let's go. I don't like that. I didn't like that. It wasn't enthusiastic. I don't really have too much to say before the... if I could talk, that would be great. So, and there was a couple of people there who remember seeing a man with the three... And on July 6, 1987, he did just that. Oh, it was 1986. And then they used the